This is how I made $1,400 last week trading GBPUSD. I'm going to be walking you guys through the full trade, all of the confluences that I were using to take the trade, my higher time frame bias going into the day, and more importantly, the entry model that I used as well. So let's not waste any more time talking. Let's head over to the charts and let's get right into this breakdown. So as you guys can see, if we just go ahead and zoom out, and we will start from a completely blank chart, and I'll walk you through the entire trade. So what I was actually seeing going into the day, which was Thursday, and also going into Friday, which is when the actual entry of the trade took place, I was basically viewing the higher time frame from two different perspectives. So the first perspective I originally had was that overall we were still bearish and price had broken structure just here, meaning that we were looking for a sell-in position somewhere within this trend leg. I then saw that price had kind of swept these previous highs into a 4-hour level of supply, just like this. So we had a sweep of these previous highs, which I was seeing as an inducement into that area of supply, and then price began to sell off. However, the other perspective that I was also considering, and this is the one which I actually took a trade based on, was the fact that we could also say that price had flipped bullish just here when it gave us the initial change of character. Price had then pulled back very impulsively, held the demand, and then broke structure once again just here. So we could also take the perspective that this move up was a break of structure for price to continue up and create some higher prices, maybe to head back towards this previous liquidity level to the left. So on Thursday, as price developed more, what I observed and what I saw was that price had actually come down into a discount of this current 4-hour trend leg. It had swept some previous lows to the left just here. And if we head over to the 1-hour chart, you can also see another confluence I was using on this was the fact that price had also tapped in to this demand zone to the left after sweeping those lows. So just a quick summary of the confluences I had. We had bullish price action with clear momentum. Price pulled back, grabbed liquidity, held demand, and then what actually made me enter this trade was, as always, as with any of my trades, I will always wait for the lower time frame confirmations. So in this case, if we head over to the 5-minute chart, which is where I always get my entry confirmation, you guys can see as we were approaching this area of hourly demand, price was coming down in a bearish trend on the 5-minute. Once we tapped this demand, price finished this or changed this bearish trend, flipped bullish when it broke the most recent lower high. So what my thought process is at this point in time is I'm now looking for a retracement to continue buying up towards some previous levels. In particular, what made me actually start to look for the buying position was when price broke above this most recent lower high. That basically confirms the switch from bearish to bullish on the 5-minute chart, and is what allows us to get our entry confirmation. I then started to see price consolidate above an area of demand, which created the change of character. So this area of demand here was significant for me because 1, it created imbalance. 2, it had an area of liquidity above it. Price was also consolidating above it, building even more liquidity. But it also broke the structure to the left and is just an area where some clear volume came into the market. So what we've got to ask ourselves here is if price comes back into this region, it's very likely going to react from it again, given that all of this volume came in from it previously. Now, my original target for this trade, remember that we also had the potential bearish scenario where we were seeing this as a sweep of the high for lower prices. If you were considering the bearish scenario, I was also viewing this as a change of character on the 1 hour. But at the very least, I thought price may even retest this area of supply. If it was going to continue bearish, I thought at the very least it would maybe come up, retest this area before then continuing down, given that we had all of this momentum and influx of buyers step into the market. So for that reason, this area of supply was my target. I had 1 to 3 take profit. As most of my trades entail, I always nearly use I nearly always use a 1 to 3 on the trades, on every trade I take. And as you guys can see, during the Asian session, if we just plot that on, price kind of started to consolidate even more above the level. And then during the London Open, as you guys will see in a moment, price stabs down, takes out the Asian low into that area of demand. So now we have another confluence added to the trade, the confluence that price swept Asia low into that demand. On top of that as well, I was quite confident in this once I saw price enter, tag us in. Basically, just because price was moving very correctively. If you just have a look at this sort of price action, we've got to ask ourselves here, is it likely that price is going to reverse all the way back down to these lows, given that it is moving very correctively like this? I would say more often than not, when you have corrective nature, a corrective nature of price like this, 90% of the time is just going to be a correction for higher prices rather than a complete reversal. When you see a complete reversal, it's normally more impulsive, so something like this, rather than this very corrective price action, building liquidity, and sort of just moving sideways. And as you guys can see, we are now tagged into this trade. So this is around London session when I woke up. I did actually have this limit set overnight as well. So ordinarily I wouldn't have been on the charts at 6 a.m., but price did tag us in on that pending order that I had set previously. And as you guys can see, eventually price pushes up, hits our TP, and then actually the TP was also perfect because price later then continued down and broke into new lows. Again, the reason why I was anticipating that was because we had this change of character, and price pulled up into the supply. So I didn't want to target all the way up here at these previous highs when I knew that price was likely going to react from this area. One thing I want to mention here though, this Friday was actually the NFP day. It was the first Friday of the month. So instead of holding for the full TP, I did close around, I believe it was here, just for around a 1 to 1.6 risk to reward on this trade. The reason being, price was hovering here just before NFP. And if you guys have any experience with NFP, you know that if you hold trades through NFP, it's very likely you get stopped out with slippage if price does hit your stop loss. So I didn't really want to risk 1.6% for an extra, 1.4% when I'm risking, like with NFP and the volume coming into the market, you're essentially risking 2-3% on the stop loss because price could just slip straight past you and take you out. So I secured the profit early on this one, as per my rules. So I'm overall happy with the management of this trade. Ordinarily I would just hold to stop loss or TP, but because we did have NFP coming out, I made the decision to secure the $1,400 and just close this trade early. But yeah, guys, that was literally everything behind this trade. As you guys know, every one of my trades is exactly the same. This is the same entry model and same set of confluences I use every single time. So if you guys enjoyed this breakdown, let me know, and I will do more of these types of videos in future. I hope you all have a great rest of the day or evening whenever you are watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.